Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Hello. Hello.
So, I'm gonna just say right off the bat, issue 50 is not as good as I remember it being.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Um, I I originally thought that issue 50 was going to be like a platinum contender for like this set of this a whole chunk of comics, and I was unfortunately underwhelmed by it. I I want to jump to it, but I physically can't because we have to go through all of the other stuff first.
Yeah. And it's best people are gonna get real confused when we start yammering.
Okay, so I think the first thing to start off with is Super Sonic Special number 1, just called Battle Royale.
Yeah.
So I'm not even going to talk about the plot. I need to talk about the impetus for this whole comic. The whole idea of it is
Mhm.
that it is a 48-page special of just the freedom fighters and the chaotics basically pairing up and doing thematic fights. Like it's really fun to watch like Bunny and Mighty doing like contests of strength with each other, and seeing a Vector and Rotor having like a tech battle almost, which was
Yeah.
kind of neat. But the
Who who drew the first part of this? Because I cannot read that text.
this is a new quote unquote artist. We're gonna see them for a bit
Oh, I
here.
can tell.
Their name is Sam Maxwell.
Oh,
They show up a bit in later comics. I think they get shuttled off into working as like a backup artist for some stuff. I'm not entirely sure.
yeah.
They're one of the few artists that
Mhm.
I don't instantly recognize their name when it comes up, and it's a lot of the artists that I don't recognize fell off before the Adventure series started.
Yeah. Props to some of these panels having like Dead Ringer Sat AM art style, and then just in the next page, the art is just. I hesitate to call it bad because I've
Yeah,
seen bad art, and this is not bad art. And then you get like fish-eyed Sally,
yeah. What
and
I think I made a note about. Oh, there it
and
is.
like
Okay.
SBO's eye. Yeah, SBO's eyes are like half the size of his head, just one eye alone.
So the note that I took on the art is I kind of like this art. It's the perfect level of cartoonish without making things too weird, and everything is stylized in the same way, so nothing is out of place. But if you are really like against like weird like facial proportions, like this is going to sort of like throw you off.
Hey, look, as someone who had to fight to get out of like this type of like eye proportion size, I don't appreciate seeing it
Yeah,
because I do art, and these eyes are too big. They are too big, and even Tails. It doesn't even look good on Tails.
yeah.
And Tails is the one where if you give him big eyes, it's typically fine because
So
he's got just such a big head anyway.
I needed to double check to see if this was the first time that we had actually seen some of these characters, by the way. I need to double check, and no, they are not, but it feels weird. Okay, so I'm gonna just jump to what the whole plan was. So Knuckles gets the Sword of Acorn, which is a very magical blade. If I remember correctly, the actual blade itself is made out of a type of irradiated metal that was made from one of the core meteors that created the Chaos Emeralds. So it's like filled with chaos energy effectively. And of course, our famous our favorite elephant guy, Mammoth Mogul, decides that he wants the sword for himself. So he
Yeah.
devises a plan to trick the Freedom Fighters and Knuckles' team to think that each other are about to fight because they refused because Knuckles' team is refusing to give up the sword after fighting it. And after like several pages of fighting, Mammoth Mogul just shows up out of nowhere, says out loud that this was his plan, and then everyone just goes, "Why'd you do that?"
We would have kept fighting, some of us to the death.
Yeah, it just feels weird. It feels absolutely awkward for Mammoth Mogul to show up and now he's wielding the sword and he goes, "This was my plan all along." And everyone just goes, "Oh, okay." And I do like how Sally explains how she figured it out that Mammoth's Mammoth's team of four. I can't remember if we ever actually pointed out their names. I believe we have.
Yes.
But
Yes. We
yeah,
have seen
it's
them in other things.
yeah, the frog, the lynx, the hawk, and the simian. Uh
Mhm.
yeah, like they were like, okay, so the initial like fighting has always been only four of the freedom fighters or only four of the chaotics fighting each other. And the whole idea was that each one of them would replicate it. And the reason why it all fell apart is because the one that was disguised as Bunny started lifting things with her unroboticized arm. And I'm like,
Yeah.
it's like what an interesting thing to take note of, and basically make it so that their entire thing fell apart because of it. Uh, so anyway, they fight him for the sword. Uh, he has a massive gash in his pants to show like his underwear for like most of the fight, and that's about it. He basically escapes, and there you go. The sword is now back into the possession of the main characters. Isn't that cool?
Yeah. Sally does get props for using our Archimedes as an improvised flamethrower, though.
Yeah.
I did quite like that. I was like, that, fire definitely does get everyone's attention.
Uh, I'm gonna just okay, before we talk about the B side, because I don't think it really factors in too much. I'm going to give this whole thing a silver because I think it's important to kind of note that uh while I didn't like the plot, it was really well drawn like fighting. A bit chaotic for me, uh, but it was pretty good overall. I really liked how everything basically like shook out at the end. What was your thoughts?
So, and we'll get into this in the second part because I have some things to say about the B side. Um, the entirety of the first half of this comic, I was not a fan of the art. Um, there were times when it was charming. You know, the through line for all of these comics is that man, the only reason why good triumphs today is because evil is dumb. And I never liked that. Um Points for Knuckles being knighted, I guess. And unfortunately, Maximilian does come back. Um Quite unfortunate for the plot. But so the entirety of the first half for me gets a bronze. However, the overall rating of the entire comic is saved as a baseline silver by the secondary B-side story because I loved the B-side so much.
I had a feeling, but I think like I took a lot more notes than I originally thought I was going to for the B side, but I needed to know like your perspective on this first part first because the B side is all about Antoine. And I have had a lot of people tell me that Antoine, both in the TV shows and in the comics, is the worst part of like early
No,
Sonic. And I
they don't
completely
know what they're
disagree.
talking about.
I think that Antoine is a really
Anton,
yeah, Antoine is a really
if you're talking about like the first 25 issues, I get where they're coming from. But immediately after he hits Joffrey with the steel chair, his character starts becoming so much more interesting. It's like the writing staff itself realized that they had a gold mine character on their hands that they could do things that were main character adjacent that they could not do with Sonic or even Knuckles for that matter. Because Anton's number one classification as a character is that he is a quote unquote coward. And so he has to stack the deck against himself to be able to come out on top. And this is another really good issue that shows Anton's brilliance, his bravery, and his resilience.
yeah. I
And plus, they gave him a really sweet outfit that is similar to Joffrey, but Anton clearly pulls it off, whereas Joffrey just looks like a pawn's.
okay. So the one thing I did want to bring up about the main comic first is the fact that Mammoth uses the shard of a Chaos Emerald that's embedded in his cane to warp. And I put down my notes, okay, listing him to known characters that can use Chaos Control, okay.
We're going to need that in the future, definitely.
Yeah, we need to remember stuff like that for later.
We definitely will.
Okay, so Antoine is looking at a map. This map is to somewhere he doesn't really understand because and he's like looking at it and he describes where he got this map. Apparently, this map was hidden inside the hilt of his father's ceremonial sword.
Give me a
Force.
second. I loved picking this room apart. This
Yeah,
room says so much without saying anything at all.
apparently this is like all the stuff his father left him, which says
Mm-hmm.
a lot about what we then later find out about his dad. Where it's
Yeah.
like I okay, so I do like how these two things intertwine to each other. So Antoine is looking at the map and he's looking through all of it and he finds only one name he recognizes. I cannot remember what name that was because I didn't write it down. But he's sitting there and he thinks about it and goes, "Oh, that was where the kudzu plant was." And I'm like, and I think about it for a second, I'm like, "Oh, that's a weird thing to reference after
Yeah,
all these comics."
yeah, it's definitely an interesting callback.
And apparently Snively has not the other half of this map, but a duplicate of it, meaning that one of these two are a replica, and it was put into Antoine's dad's sword for some reason. And so Antoine was like, well, now I'm incredibly curious. And of course, like, it doesn't take long uh for Snively to cross-reference it with like a map of Robotropolis because, he's in the city and he goes, "Oh yeah, that's where the old base was destroyed by the kudzu plant. And I go, oh yeah, the rectangular, like single-floored building from like the very early like gag days of the comic. Apparently that got abandoned because of the kudzu plant, like eating a bunch of
That
stuff.
makes sense.
So
Yeah.
we can say like chronologically, like the kudzu plant is the reason why they moved into the egg tower from Sat AM. So I was like, huh, fascinating. Um, I do want to point out something that was kind of annoying to me. Antoine's accent feels so out of place because all they
It
did was
really
put was replace the Z the S in a lot of sounds with just a Z. And I'm like, no, it needs to be specific sounds that need to be like highlighted.
yeah, they did the TH and they did uh the soft S, but it made his accent feel really forced. Whereas which is a dock against the comic. But, it wasn't going up against strong competition in this series of comic runs. And I'll get into that as we get into future comics we talk about right now. Um, I I think this issue is utilizing its space really well. Because clearly this was the idea is it would play second fiddle to the showdown between the chaotics and the freedom fighters. But this is telling so much and getting people caught up so quickly on the area that the economy of storytelling is great in this.
Yeah, originally I wrote down the fact that I just wasn't taking any notes, so I had to like go back and like reread some of the stuff because I'm like, well, clearly I'm missing something if I'm just like glazing over like a lot of this and I'm like, oh, I'm actually enjoying this a lot more than I did. I still do not think that it goes above a silver, but one of the things that I really enjoyed was a moment in the sewers after like Antoine gets like seen where he's sitting down there and he pulls a ring out of his pack and he goes, "Okay, this works for Sonic. How does this work for me?" And he grips his sword, and as one of the egg robots that look like big arms comes around the corner, he slices the robot completely in half to the point where there's like a that like classic like buzzsaw like
Core in the middle.
rip saw buzzsaw ripped like line in the middle. And I clapped and it went, this is where it comes from. Okay, cool. Because I've always held the idea, and a lot of people who only play the games disagree with me on this. But at the end of the day, uh, chaos energy at its heart is not a power granter. It is an aspect enhancer. When Sonic gets chaos energy, he goes faster. When Tails when Tails gets chaos energy, he gets more command over the wind. When Knuckles gets chaos energy, he gets stronger. You know, it's not really a I will grant you the power of chaos. It is you are the best that you can be at this moment. And I've always
It's an amplification of previous abilities.
yeah, and from this entire story building up to that point, we have actually seen that Antoine is incredibly smart and calculated. So, what does he get? He gets the ability to cut the robot at its weak point. And I was like, and it just goes right through. And I find that that is amazing.
Yeah, because you even see a scene where it could get cut, even. And Anton Sword just buzzsaw nails it.
Uh, so the end of the comic is basically after like Sonic and the gang like show up to help and like all that kind of stuff. And Snively is like, well, we didn't find anything here. What even was the point of this? Antoine basically sits down in that room again and he goes, oh well. And it just kind of ends. And I'm like, thank you, Antoine. We have learned nothing from this. Great.
Well, we've learned how cool Anton is, which I think is the most important thing to learn.
Yeah, I think like a lot of the B-sides with Antoine, and especially when Bunny is like alongside of him, we've learned that Antoine could stand up and be a hero by himself. It's very fascinating because like again, Antoine is basically the hero that he wishes he truly was, but because it's not
Yeah,
his comic, he's not giving a time to shine.
yeah. If it was his comic, the transformation we would see on Anton would be stellar. It would be star bright. But unfortunately, Sonic's name is on the cover, and this is Sonic's franchise. So Anton is and friends, which is quite unfortunate. And everyone overlooks him, and they shouldn't because he's cool. And this B side story is why he's so cool.
Okay. So I think we kind of start so the reason why we cut it off where we did is very specific. So welcome to the Endgame arc. So so issue 47 is the start of Endgame, which is a 4 issue series that was supposed to lead into the end of the Sonic comic. Because Archie did not know if they were going to continue on. It had already been about like a year since Sat AM like stopped airing. Uh, and the games had kind of moved on from this. Like Sonic CD has come and gone. Sonic Blast has shown up, and it's slowly. I believe that this was in the doldrums of where like Sonic stuff just was not coming out for the Saturn. So we didn't
Yeah.
really have too much like actual like game material for Sonic. And Archie was like, we might just drop the comic at like issue 50, so how about we just wrap it all up and just into like a nice bow. Unfortunately, the first issue of Endgame caused so much people being drawn to the comic going, what's going on, that their sales basically hit through
And
the
it
roof.
saved yeah, and it saved the entire comic line.
So, the year is 3235.
Oh, they shouldn't have given us a date.
Yeah, and it's just like, wait,
They're gonna retcon this date, and you know they're gonna retcon this date,
but then immediately
or
after
they're gonna
was
do some.
that they then say that it is the 11th year of the ongoing war of this planet. And my brain instantly starts going into overdrive. I'm like, what do you mean? Uh, Sonic and Sally are supposed to be like 14, 15 at this point. And there's no way that like they escaped to the age of like 3 and 4. And they thought about it and went, wait, are they talking about how like the start of the fight with the Overlanders? There's no way that that was only like 3 years. It's like that was like
Yeah,
a generational war. Like, what do you mean?
and we haven't even talked about them in this comic either. So it's certainly not that's what they're thinking of.
So I basically just took that whole part and just started striking it out. And this comes after the previous issue where I didn't mention it, but man, Ken was smoking something when he wrote the wall of text that appears at the beginning of the pages now. Let me actually pull up the previous issues one to see what I was talking about. It's like since the beginning of time, living creatures have fought one another for a variety of reasons. Some fought for personal honor, some in order to obtain a certain goal or prize, and some for their own survival. Sonic and his friends have the added burden of fighting a battle, not only against those they've allied themselves with in the past, but under the specter of that that one of their own may be indeed working for them. And I just skip like this whole like part in the middle of just meandering. I'm just like, Ken, what are you on about? It's
It's just yapping.
like, why is there this whole page of yapping? What's going on? Yeah, what was the line? Uh, it is in this manner that um which can be the most insidious way to fight, for those doing battle in all likelihood are but pawns to a greater purpose known only to the instigator. It's like, Ken, please calm down.
And he's like, no, I need to lore dump more. It's not enough. I need to contradict myself 3 separate times before we can start drawing panels. He
Speaking of
should have just
panels,
written a book.
this
He should
whole
have just written a book. Why was he trying to write a comic?
okay, so speaking about panels, this entire issue has had like a weird issue with panels. I have
Oh
always
yeah.
detested when they do a like diagonal cut through a page, and the diagonal cut is ascending from left to right, so it goes up at like a down into the upper up into the upper right diagonal because my brain instantly goes, okay, so the first panel I hit is the one that is on the right. Should I read that? No, that's not how that works. And then there's stuff like there was a specific page that I was looking at. I bel in it. Let me actually find the appropriate page. It should be pretty easy, but there is a moment of this yeah, there was a moment in this where I just like started like scratching my head going like, what is going on this page? Uh Let me find it. We're about to talk about like the other stuff in this comic, but like I kind of needed to find this first. Okay, so it is one of the first like few page. It is literally the first page. Uh, so Sally and Sonic are looking up at the tower, and so the first thing you see on the page is Sally's view through her visor. You're not supposed to then read the rest of the panel. You then have to move over to the right, which is where her word bubbles are coming from. And then you go back to the original panel, and then you zigzag over down the page for Sonic to then shoot out a grappling hook. The grappling hook moves from left to right on the page, and then you have to
In the
retract your
opposite direction of the start of the page.
yeah, which is just incredibly awkward, but it keeps with the actual like the line of shot, because we see Sonic hold it, and from where he's holding it to the way that it lands on the other building, the movement is consistent, but you're not following the line of motion. And this whole page just took me out of it. I'm like, come on, guys.
And it's like they were in the room, right? And they had like a fistful of Ken's like 50 pages of notes about the world building of Mobius and Acorn, and went, Ken, this is really great. We can really use this in this comic that's about to end soon. Which direction is the panels going? And Ken went, I have it all figured out. It's all in there. It's all in there, guys. And then he passed out from like a caffeine overdose on the spot.
Yeah, so Sonic and Sally are doing a very important infiltration mission. This is the infiltration mission that they got the Lupe and the Wolf Pack to help them with. And it cuts over to the Freedom Fighters, and Dr. Quack is like, "Why am I here?" And I'm like, "Why are you here, Dr. Quack?" Like, I know why he's here. I was like, everyone else knows why he's here if you know happens in this issue. But it's like,
Yeah.
why were you even taking on this mission in the first place? And as
Shouldn't
they're
you
kind
be
of
back at the base where you're safe and we can quickly triage people over to you as we need, or back at the base camp where we were a little bit ago, where you'd be safe from this nonsense. No, no, no. Have your only qualified doctor in the middle of an active war zone. Very smart idea.
So I'm gonna verbatim like talk about what happens panel by panel because I think this is really important coming up. Because I need
Yeah.
to remind people that they put contingencies for Endgame in case they don't get canceled, but the original plan was that Sally Acorn dies in this issue. That was the original plan, but they put some contingencies in case they decide not to. So Rotor and Tails are just watching them through, and we see Sally put something back into her jacket, and then she mentions that she's lightheaded, and she then goes into a flashback about what happened before, in which she's basically just sitting alone, and she gets pulled into a room with complete like confidentiality to find out that uh, Maximone is now standing up and he is talking, and Sally's just like, no one had informed me about your recovery, and he goes, yeah, because this is on a need to know basis, and you really need to make sure that you understand this. Robotnik is
Get
about
your
to
tinfoil hat.
Yeah, Robotnik is about to
We're
unleash his
going
most
into conspiracy.
yeah,
Right.
most devastating attack yet, and there is a traitor within your midst. You must get rid of Sonic the Hedgehog. And Sally's like, "What?" It's like that is it's like how can he be the traitor? And Maximum only responds with, "This isn't a time for weakness. You are to accompany him on the next mission to ascertain whether or not he has true loyalties to the crown." And Sally has been basically mulling this over for the last few days. And it's like, oh, okay. It's like that's why she's been kind of out of it lately. And Sonic and Sally then
Right.
prepare their two-pronged infiltration. Because Sally was going to rappel down to the lower floor, cause some stuff, and Sonic was going to go through the ventilation system to get the jump on Robotnik right into his room. Uh, Robotnik and Snively are watching Sally rappel down from the floor, and they're like, "Okay, this is a good time." Personally, I really like Robotnik's line where he goes, "It was like, you are exactly on time, Princess. If I were a nice guy, I wouldn't do what I'm about to do. Unfortunately," and then he hits the button, and
Yeah.
deploys the like cannons.
I love that Maximilian's back. Dot dot dot. We'll get into that as we go on with the story. But the instant he comes back, he starts causing problems. Because if there's one thing Maximilian Acorn loves to do, it's cause problems
For everyone around him. Yeah,
because that's inherently who he is.
yeah,
And I just want in the future we're going to be using a lot of how many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man? Mean quite a lot.
yeah. So, um, Voter finally gets to use his pocket cannon to like get rid of some of the turrets to like help Sally down. But as everything is like going well, Sonic looks over the ledge, pulls out a knife, and then cuts the rope. And we just have a whole page of Sally looking at the end of the rope and then falling all the way like down multiple like flights of this building through an awning and then flat onto the ground, knocking her out instantly.
Yeah, falling on her chest to boot, which is not a good thing.
Yeah,
Like back's not good, heart is also not good.
the best way
And we have
to
no
survive a fall.
internal dialogue.
Yeah, the best way to survive a fall, by the way, is to literally land on your feet and hope that your legs and
That
pelvis like break enough of your fall to make sure that your vital organs don't get destroyed. You will no longer have use of your legs and pelvis, but hey, you're still alive.
hey, yeah, you're still alive.
Yeah.
Well,
And
man,
and the second this happened, everyone like jumps into action. Like the wolf packer just like instantly just like, well, now we have to assault the building. Uh Bunny is like using her stretchy leg ability to like try to get over to her as fast as possible. And all while this is going on, Robotnik is like, man, this plan worked a lot better than we intended. I'm surprised. And as he's talking, Sonic is inside his room, and he's just dodging all of these lasers, like about to fight Robotnik. When Robotnik does his classic thing of hit the ejector seat, just drops himself into a pit like he's playing Mousetrap or something, and then just slides down to whatever escape method he's been going on. And as all of this is going on, Sonic realizes that Sally isn't in the room with him, and he goes, "Huh, she was supposed to get here first. Okay, what's going on?" Meanwhile, they basically got everyone just like tending to Sally, making sure that she's okay, and uh, Dr. Quack basically goes, "She's still alive, and we need to get her to a medical facility as fast as possible. The only problem is that like she doesn't have much." And so
she doesn't
they
have much time.
yeah, so they're on their way to save Sally. Sonic just barely misses everyone just evacuating the scene. And by the time that he gets back, Dr. Quack has already told everyone the bad news that uh I'm gonna spoil it. She's been put into an indefinite coma. So she might as well be dead. To the point where if they were to basically cut life support, she would die. But right now she's stabilized. She's just in a coma. The thing is that Quack tells everyone that she's dead. And of course, we don't know this as the audience, but like story-wise, she doesn't die. So it's this like
Yeah,
whole thing of like, okay, so something's going on. Clearly, like it's like we are led to believe that she is dead at this
they
point.
can't off-screen Sally because that seems a bit
I mean,
suspicious.
they on screen killed Sally, but like it's more of her
Well,
final breath was off screen.
yeah, and if you know comics, if there's no corpse, there's no death, and even then, people can still come back.
So Sonic, the second he shows up, Joffrey immediately jumps onto him to accuse him of murder and treason because Antoine, the most chivalrous character of the entire group, was the one to see that Sonic cut the cable. And since Antoine, after like the whole thing with the campfire, is basically the most like honorable and like truthful character among any of them, everyone is going to take his word for it. So it's like, oh, okay, so this is how this is happening. It was like building up Antoine's sort of building up Antoine as basically a you can always trust what he is about to say and do, and then you immediately have him be the one that accuses Sonic. You just go, oh, is that no? Okay, so he saw something, and and so we have to take his word for it. He saw Sonic kill Sally. So why does this not make sense? immediately slam cuts to Drago showing up to his girlfriend Hershey's place to brag about how he helped kill Sally. Immediately.
which is, oh
Immediate.
yeah, he doesn't even breathe. He doesn't even like let the heat die down. This guy's so eager to get like a pat on the back for treachery.
Uh
Ugh.
so right after that, everyone is called to the center of town where uh Maximilian Acorn, the king of Knothole, basically presents himself saying, "I am in fact alive." Okay, Sonic, how do you plead for the crime of murder, for our princess? And he's like, "I would not do that. Why?" And Maximilian basically goes, "Well, in recognition of your service, I shall forego the death penalty and instead just throw you in prison for the rest of your life. I hope you're okay with that."
Should have
And
killed him. Should have killed him.
there was then a
Oh, this
final
plan would
panel.
have worked if they had just killed him.
Yeah, there's a
They
final.
wouldn't have been able to, but they could have tried.
Yeah, there's a final panel of Robotnik and Snively watching on a spy cam as he's just laughing maniacally about how uh Sonic has finally been like defeated not through like his own means but through pure bureaucracy. And you're sitting there and you're like, "Oh,
It's so tickled. Also, that camera is over Drago's shoulder if you're looking at the shot before that. So that's where the camera is
yeah." So
in
like
the
if
picture.
you go back to the previous page and you see who is standing between Acorn and uh yeah, Max and Joffrey, you see that it's Drago. You can tell because he has a very distinct outline, and so you instantly go,
And
"Oh,
very
okay, that's him."
distinct design.
There is
Yeah.
absolutely no ambiguity. It is him, that he is the traitor, and I kind of like the fact
Well,
that
he's
in
one up, quite frankly.
honestly, I kind of like the fact that they don't even like pretend that you were fooled by this at all, and they're like, how? It was
Well,
like,
yeah,
did Sonic actually do it? No.
because I do want to be fooled.
Yeah.
Like, this is the stupidest plan that went correctly for the villains.
Yeah. Jumping right into the following comic, I personally love the fact that they do this whole thing of writing fugitive over hedgehog on the cover. It's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I really like it.
Hmm.
Uh
Once again, Spaz's art, beautiful.
oh,
I love the dynamics. I love the light. I love the rust on the handcuffs and the tearing of it. Even though Sonic doesn't look like this in any part of the comic, this sells it. This
yeah.
sells the image that they're trying to go for.
So what did you give issue 47 before we move on?
47 itself,
Yeah.
silver.
I would say the exact
It's
same.
gonna get it's gonna get into a higher silver as it goes on. But this plan is so incredibly dumb. Once
Yeah,
you look at the entire thing, I'm like, how did you pull this off? Why are the heroes so stupid? Like, if Sonic wanted Sally dead, he would have strangled her in her sleep. It would have been so easy.
yeah. Um So we have issue 48, which is Endgame Part 2. Um,
We open up on police brutality, sponsored by Joffrey St. John.
yeah. I would like to say right now, none of these characters are out of place. It just feels like the story is out of place. So it's like you're like, why is Sonic even going along with this? Why is everyone just not allowing this to happen? But then you think about it was like, no. This is the king that they worked very hard to bring back from the dead, effectively. They have to kind of trust him, but at the same time, how would he know? Like, how would Max know that Sonic is the traitor? It's just such a weird sort of thing that doesn't make sense when
Well,
you like.
thought my immediate thought is that Joffrey is part of the need to know basis, just because it's Joffrey.
Yeah.
Like I never questioned for a single second that Max turned to Joffrey and went, "I want the slimiest guy in charge of my security detail, please. I know Anton's standing right there, but I want the skunk."
So, when Sonic is loaded onto this plane to be sent over into exile, he finds out that Sleuth Doggy Dog is also on the same plane. And they just have this moment where you're like, okay, this guy's a traitor. Sonic is a traitor. They're heading to the same place. You don't see him for the rest of this entire like set of issues. He's just here for this one page.
Yeah, he's just here to make a point.
And I'm just like, so is he literally just here to basically push in that, like, yes, Sonic is on par with this guy, which does not give me any emotions at all. The
Because we
plane,
know that Sonic's not the bad guy.
yeah, the plane they get shot down by some SWAT bots to grab Sonic, uh, on his way out, which immediately makes him look even more suspicious overall.
Oh yeah,
But
Eggman's Eggman's thoroughly twisting the knife. Like he's doing his job perfectly.
One of my favorite panels is an entire series of issues, by the way, is where Sonic dive kicks a SWAT bot as he's trying to escape, and the way that he kicks
Yeah,
them turns his feet into a drill, just slams into his chest, and he just looks over at the other one that he's about to hit. I love that panel so much. It's just really cool looking.
it's really good. Sonic is always fast on his feet as a point.
So after so we cut back to Knothole as Drago and King Acorn are just smiling menacingly as they bring in Joffrey St. John to basically tell him, well, you are tasked to making sure that Sonic comes back dead or alive, and Joffrey goes, dead it is then.
He's like, I've been waiting for this for years. I know I've only known him for like 1 or 2 years max. Since the crib, I've like despised him.
Um
And like Acorn knows before anyone else is the thing too. And so does Draco for that instance. Like
yeah.
he knew before Joffrey, who was supposed to be in charge of like the entire prison system.
Yeah. So Sonic is finally exhausted from like running around and trying to trying to like cover his tracks when he has a sort of flashback to the things that Charles told him about, where Charles was Uncle Chuck was trying to get like Sally's medical report to like double check some stuff. King Acorn basically superseded him and basically jettisoned him out of being able to look at anything because of his relation to Sonic. And Sonic is basically just thinking about all this as he is attempting to get even just the tiniest amount of energy back from sleeping. And it cuts over to Antoine and Bunny kind of sneaking around Knothole because clearly something is up. And there's this really great moment where Bunny is just like where it's like I don't is like at least it confirms that Joffrey is being genuine about what he's saying, and Antoine's like perhaps, and it's just this really great moment where the comic goes, unfortunately, Joffrey is clean.
Unfortunately, this is not Joffrey's idea.
Uh, and Antoine is like we are currently following Drago, and Bunny is like, why Drago? And he points out something later on that was actually very interesting for him to notice. Again, it's his intellect that is his his which is his strong point. He later points out that Drago was the only one of the wolf pack that was not standing with each other. Because the wolf pack always kind of moves with each other, but Drago has always been the loner that like runs off by himself because lone wolf type stuff. So he's like, why is he keeping his distance? Like, except for when he's on his mission. That feels really suspicious, especially for like the wolves as a very communal group. So he is immediately suspicious of Drago, so he's gonna investigate. Immediately,
Because once again, Anton has a brain.
immediately Antoine uh like sneaks over and in within these like few issues 47 through 50, uh very awkwardly realistic domestic violence between Drago and Hershey
I know,
happens.
right?
It
Where
is,
did this come from?
and like
This
Antoine
comic
is like, I knew he was evil, but like jeez. And Bunny's just like, I
is like
wow.
Bunny is uncomfortable with this. She is like so deeply does not want to be in this situation, even though if it was up between Bunny and Drago, she would mop the floor with him.
Bunny the first thing that Bunny does is rip his arm off. Like that would be like the perfect way to like end Drago as a character, unironically. But like
Oh yeah. It's like,
so
well, you don't need this no more. You forfeit the right to even have it.
so before Bunny and Antoine even gets like moderately away from Drago's house, an army of SWAT bots just immediately grab them, with Drago next to them, going like, "Yeah, no, you're not getting out of here. We're sending you straight to Down Under." It's like, what? Why? It's like halfway across the joint. Never mind.
Yeah, it's halfway across the world and they're not Sonic.
Uh,
By the
mean,
time they get there and come back,
Meanwhile, Sonic is being woken up by a loud noise from outside the cave. Uh, Joffrey
it's
is
dogs barking.
Yeah, Joffrey is
I
like using a tracking device to find Sonic's relative location, but then when it comes to his exact location, they brought Tasmanian devils.
in retrospect, this makes me so uncomfortable.
Yeah,
I'm so uncomfortable by these guys.
he specifically says it's one of the few Mobian races to never fully evolve. And I'm just like, whoa, that
Put a pin in that.
we're putting a pin on that because one, that's not even true. Two, uh very strange, and three, very strange Looney Tunes reference, but okay.
Well, Pepe Le Pew is also standing there.
Although it is,
So,
to be fair, it is actually kind of funny that the character that's supposed to be a parody of Pepe Le Pew is bringing Tasmanian devils to fight the hero,
mhm.
and it's revealed that Sonic's shackles actually have a GPS device planted inside of them, so Joffrey can always track him down. And Joffrey's just like looking at it and goes, "Huh, that's weird. My tracker is going wild." Oh, and then he immediately just like dodges a punch from Sonic, who is just like right on top of him now. And unironically, like
Yeah.
this whole set of issues, pretty good action, especially this issue in particular.
Yeah.
I kind of like what's going
Oh
on.
yeah.
Also, we haven't brought it up yet, but they are stating the name of the issue and the people responsible, which is a very funny way of putting it. But yeah, the people responsible for it on the final page of the issue to not actually to not actually cover up a lot of the action
Interrupt
throughout
the
most of
flow.
this. Um, I forgot to mention it, but the previous issue was written by Penders. Most of this miniseries is, well, it's not a miniseries; it's part of the actual series. But this set of 4 issues, this event, is mostly written by Penders, with like some of the side stuff and like character interludes being interjected by different writers. The first issue was drawn by Mawini, and this particular issue is drawn by Gallon, which you can instantly tell having that sad AM sort of like vibe for most of the issue. And it really works well with the scene that's about to come up. Because I feel like that if this actually happened in Sad AM, it would have been like one of the coolest moments in the entire like into the entire cartoon, you know? In which
Yeah.
it cuts away from Sonic and Joffrey fighting, where Maximilian is having this like roundtable discussion with the remaining like freedom fighters and the like wolf pack about what's about to happen. And he basically goes, there was only one person I know of that can help us like track to bring about to reinstate our kingdom the way that we want. Uh so well, let's call him into the room. My old advisor Robotnik is here. And everyone's just like, what? As Robotnik is standing there, uh,
And
like,
everyone realizes they've been duped.
so instantly, Rotor pulls out his gun. Robotnik activates his gauntlet and creates an energy shield that absorbs all of the shots from Rotor's gun, and focusing it all into a finger just annihilates the gun with a single point. And unironically, I think it's the coolest thing that Robotnik has done so far in this like whole series.
Oh yeah.
Cause just the whole idea of, nah, you're messing with energy. This is my like domain. It's like you may be smart, Rotor, but I am a tech genius.
Yeah. There's a reason why Tails is one of the only people actually on his level.
Yeah. And it basically this little like interlude ends with Robotnik gripping Chuck and Mutsky like really hard to like start bending their metal as he slowly like closes the door behind him, with maniacal laughter going over the whole village, which is like quite possibly like one of the most intimidating things that he has done this whole series is infiltrate their home
Yeah.
finally. Again, he knows the location of Knot Hole. We are pointing this out right now because it's very awkward for him to forget later.
Yeah. Would be weird if you suddenly forgot where Knothole was again.
Yeah, so we cut back to Sonic and Joffrey fighting, and Sonic getting one good hit in, like evades, gets to the end of the cave, realizes that it's like high above a waterfall, and Sonic decides he's gonna just take a leap of faith and just jump down.
I love the look he gives Joffrey when Joffrey says basically you're trapped, I've got you. He just looks and then jumps.
It's like looks at him
It's
with
like
like a
no
look of
you don't.
are you serious? It's like I'm not gonna jump? Like what's wrong with you, dude?
And it's like I thought you knew me as a person.
Yeah. Um So I'm gonna just state right now, I gave issue like a 48 a silver. I would even say like it's a pretty high silver for like the action scenes that are in it. It might it I don't want to say it right now, but it might be like one of the like best like fight scenes that we've had in a while in the Sonic series. That's not like from a Knuckles that's not from like a mini series.
I need to go over all the fight scenes again to dispute or agree with you on that.
I kind of
But
like how the motion
I
flowed
give
at
this
least.
one a firm. This one I would agree. It's a C. Also, I love the panel that says for the first time in his life, Sonic truly understands the meaning of war. It's really funny.
Which immediately just makes me think of the panel from Sonic Forces where Knuckles goes, "Yes, Rouge, it's why it's called war."
But I give this one a high C as well.
So, part 3 of Endgame. I hate the cover of this issue, and I'm gonna explain why in a bit. But I personally feel like that this might actually be like uh I kind of okay. So I kind of like it and I kind of hate it at the same time because it goes from the previous issue. After just reading that, you set it down and you pull this one out and you go, "Oh, that's cool," because we're just continuing the story right from like the last page by having the cover of the next one explaining what's happening. I don't like the fact that Dulcie shows up like 80% of the way through the issue and it's supposed to be like this grand reveal of like what the plan was. But hey, I kind of feel like that while they were doing something cool, I kind of feel bad that the cover kind of spoils it. So,
Well, to be fair, this I hate using the word kids comic when we've got a dead corpse in like the other room.
yeah.
Um, but it makes sense. And once again, anything involving the Tasmanian devils always gives me the ick. It just always gives me the ick. I can't unlearn what I've learned in the future.
So, Sonic is like falling for like 2 whole pages when he's like, okay, I need to figure out like what's going on. My legs are cramping. I can't really do any of my like specialty techniques while falling through the air. What do I have? He thinks about it and he pulls his shoe off, grabs the dirt from the shoe, and throws it as hard as he can towards the shoreline. As he goes, I've always wanted to try to see if this works. Sonic then runs so fast
Sonic,
that he uses the gravity from their like from the upswing of it being thrown to as a momentary like perch to run across the instant land strip to get to the shoreline. And I'm just like, holy crap, Sonic. It's like this
it's
is
like, why does he only pull out these really cool moves like right as he's about to die?
um there was an ongoing joke when it comes to power scaling. You never power scale game Sonic. You always power scale Archie Sonic cuz Archie Sonic has done some weird stuff like this. This is why he's faster than the Flash. Because the Flash like in his
Yeah,
comics say that physics still work like in his stuff. Like even though it's like slowed down, inertia is still a thing. Sonic is basically pausing
yeah.
time to run across like a momentary strip of land without gravity affecting it. And it's like, holy crap, that is so fast. You do not understand. Especially with
And
some.
anytime he's not that fast, he can just use chaos control to be that.
Yeah. So, there is one piece of art which the person who wrote the person who did the art for this one is Maxwell, by the way, and there is a shot of Joffrey where he's just like looking down, and for some reason he is incredibly buff, and it just weirds me out. Like, why is he this buff? He's never been like this in any of the other comics. What? And it's just weird. So we cut back to Robotnik and King Acorn, and Robotnik says the incredibly cold line of Sonic the Hedgehog has indeed betrayed you, but despite what you are all thinking, King Acorn has not. As he then shoots King Acorn in the back of the head, showing that he's a robot.
Why did he do that?
Um,
Why did he do that?
because it's an incredibly
Why
cold
did
thing to do.
I know it's an incredibly cold and cool thing that he can do. Eggman has to stop giving the game away. This is not helping his street cred.
So we then cut over to Robotropolis to see what has kind of been going on in the background the whole time. Dr. Quack has basically walked up and he's just thrown like all the stuff that he was asked to like give to Snively. And it's like, I've done my part, you must do yours. Snively then shows that he has had Dr. Quack's family like like in a like jail cell this whole time. And you kind of put it together by the papers that he gives him that he was basically forced to fabricate the death of Sally Acorn, like, and hold on to the papers so nobody, so even if someone were to steal it, like, it would just tell them that Sally is dead. Later on, it is incredibly funny to kind of think about how it's like, oh, Sally was supposed to be dead at this point, but they weren't entirely sure, like, what they were gonna do. So
Yeah.
most of this was still like under wraps of what their plan actually was. So uh Snively asking Dr. Quack to fabricate Sally's death certificate for no reason in retrospect feels kind of weird. Uh
Mm-hmm.
but right after like Dr. Quack gets upset um because he now has his family near him, he instantly gets shot in the chest, and then his family taken away from him again, going, "Okay, doctor, you are now to finish what you're doing. Here is King Acorn. Go do what you were asked to do." And he goes, "Okay." And so they just wheeled the still crystallized a King Acorn out of the room, which we never get back to. We never get back to this. It's just confirmed, yes, King Acorn is still alive, but unfortunately he is still made out of crystal, so they couldn't even roboticize him if they wanted to.
Yeah,
So,
because the Chaos Emeralds are stopping it.
yeah. Meanwhile, we cut back to Sonic, and he whistles, quote, at a he vibrates his vocal cords at a speed unattainable by any other living creature, um, emitting a high-pitched whistle that can only be heard by Dulcie. And I'm like, are you serious? And so Sonic gets onto Dulcie's back as they like fly away to Knothole, just as like Joffrey was trying to catch up to him, and he just like angrily throws down his crossbow because he knows that he's lost.
Yeah.
Because the only other place that they could possibly go to is either back to Knothole, which Dulcie immediately would tell him is probably a bad idea because as a flying dragon, she was keeping away the whole time. Or he is going somewhere else. What place would that be? I wonder. Cutting back to Hershey's cottage. Let me just scroll down past the domestic abuse. Drago basically throws a Sonic costume in front of her. And I was like, okay, here's the costume that I forced you to wear. I need you to put it back on to see what I mean. As she puts the head back on and realizes that everything she sees, whether it's Drago himself or her own reflection, everything m- makes it so that it comes to her in her brain as Snively. This is to reveal that Hershey was the Sonic that was standing on the balcony, cutting Sally's wire, dropping her to her death. And Drago had tricked her into killing Sally using this method. First of all, why? It's not even like a why is this the plot? It's not even like why did she do this? It's more of why is this the plot point? Because I think that
Yeah,
it would have been a lot stronger if Hershey was basically just bullied into doing this, and she now has to live with the grief. Why did he have to trick
yeah,
her into doing it? It's like there was always already this sort of like I was not um I was not like in control of my actions technically. Like why
hmm
add this like whole thing with the like image refractors? Like it makes no sense. Um we then cut over to Down Under where Antoine and Bunny are basically shackled to like a metal wall, and it's revealed that Antoine has some light restraints, but Bunny has multiple detonators that are just over her entire body, so that if she exerts too much force onto any of the like robotic limbs, they will just automatically detonate. I was like, okay. And they look over, and there's Walt and Barbie from the Down Under Freedom Fighters, which unironically kind of nice to see them. Not nice to see them all like torn up like they are, but
I'm glad the
man,
comic. I'm,
hmm?
I'm glad the comic remembered that these guys exist.
I was not excited to see Crocbot show up with his tank pelvis, and he's like, "Hello, I am here too." I'm like, "I don't want you to be here." And every single time he talks, he has a little icon of himself up in the upper corner that is just cut and pasted the exact same pose of his head from the panel that he's like in full display. And so it's just him sitting there just monologuing, and I'm like, "Thank you for showing up, I guess." And then like the final page of his monologue is has so many like word bubbles that it's like overtaking the art so you can't even see what's going on. And I'm just like, thanks for showing up, I guess.
Thanks for
So,
being here. We'll see you in probably like 50 issues, man.
uh, so, uh, Sonic and Dulcie have been like flying like all night to get to the floating island as Dulcie basically crash lands onto the island from just like being just so tired. And the second they get even remotely next to the island, Knuckles sucker punches Dulcie for even attempting to land. And Sonic is like, "How dare you?" And he's like, "I don't want any part of this.
Yeah,
I
it's
will
like,
continue to."
dude, it's like Sonic goes, "You were not going to ruin the first nap I've gotten for the past 5 days."
Yeah.
And plus, your beef is with me.
And as like Sonic and Knuckles are like about to like fight even more, Joffrey immediately just parachutes down going, "I've already tracked you." It's like, yeah, kind of hard to think of any other location he would go to. Sonic immediately
Well,
had to get
also, he's still wearing the cuffs.
yeah.
He can still be tracked.
Yeah,
Joffrey doesn't need to think about where he's going if he's got like a tracking device on the guy.
I will like to point out the fact that they advertised the next issue, issue 50, with being the quote ultimate three-way battle for the Sega Century. And I'm like, what did you mean by this? It's like because the next issue does not start with Sonic Sonic versus Joffrey versus Knuckles at all. And there's a lot more than three people that get involved. I don't think like Knuckles even like throws a punch towards Joffrey like for invading his island. Like okay, what did you give this issue, by the way?
Um,
Because I'm gonna just say silver and just like
yeah,
just kind of
it's definitely a silver.
okay. So I'm gonna briefly talk about this, but I mentioned it before, but we are technically not reading issue 50. We are actually reading we are actually reading the director's cut, which is Sonic Super Special 6 that was released I think a few years like 2 years afterwards as like a like special re-release.
And
I
if you're worried about us missing 50, I can reassure all of you it's the exact same comic, but the director's cut has good art.
yeah, they fixed like some of the art.
And the other one, yeah, and the other one also has good art, but Spaz's art is all over the place. And we appreciate Spaz in this house.
Yeah. So, let me kind of explain because I'm going to I kind of don't want to, but I have to. I will just delete issue 50 from my list because effectively it is the same issue. We're going to go over like some of the
Mm-hmm.
changes like in a bit, but for right now, all you really need to know is that issue 50 is Super Special 6 as well. It's basically the same thing, it was just a re-release. Like fixing I think like a few typos and like some of the other stuff. But the thing that was added is honestly kind of fascinating because I don't think they even needed to add it really, like in the grand scheme of things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Let me just double check to see where that page is exactly. Yeah. Okay. Um, do you know what's the worst part about this whole issue? They state the name of the issue earlier into it, breaking the thing of like having the like name at the end of the issue to like block it out. But like this is how Sonic Super Special 50 Director's Cut starts by Ken Penders. It's like
Least we forget.
you wanted me to say the rest of the names? Okay, here are the rest of the names with and then all of the artists and like inkers and like colorists that are just like added all as like one cluster. And I'm just like, thanks, Ken. Uh, thanks, Ken. Um, so you can't even tell like who really did what, who worked on like which part of the comic, but you can definitely tell that there is a definite tonal shift between certain pages where it's like which we will cut away from like one place to another and you instantly go, okay, another writer took over from this point on. And it's kind of neat how it's like basically all of the writers up to this point had a hand in issue 50, and it immediately starts with Robotnik's backstory. He is running away from two overlanders who are trying to shoot him, and the only reason why they don't find him is because he falls face first into like some mud and they just barely miss him. And then two hedgehog brothers find him and they go, "Oh, huh. Well, let's get him back to base so that we can like at least ask him a few questions about why he was running away from some overlanders." These two brothers are named Chuck and Jules, and they are the
And
ones who
Jules is Sonic clearly takes after his father. Very clearly, except Sonic is way more impulsive.
I will say Jules has immaculate fashion with the plaid red pocketed vest and hiking boots. There's just something really cool about his design when he was still human. Not when he's human, but like when he's still like mortal. There's something really cool about his design.
Yeah.
And so we see the two brothers. We see King Acorn. We've seen his old captain of the guard that is currently trapped in the zone of silence. We see Julian basically explaining like where he came from and why he was basically thrown out. And we also see a skunk character who I could only assume is Joffrey's dad, because it's clearly not Joffrey since he would be far too young for this, unless they're assuming that this is like a 12-year-old
Yeah.
Joffrey who is just like hanging around. Which I feel like
Seems
that.
like the bad parenting most of the council would involve themselves in.
So King Acorn assigns Julian as his warlord to take on to finish the fight with the Overlanders, which is this is the first real time that we get any sort of reason as to why uh Robotnik was even remotely considered like a valuable asset to King Acorn. It's because there was this ongoing war with the humans that lived on the other side of the planet. And I think the funniest way to describe the Overlanders, especially like in the early days of the issue, they all look like they came out of How to Draw Anime, and I think that that's really funny.
Yeah.
I was like, I partially think that it wasn't intended for them to look like this, but I also love the aesthetic of just the anime super spiky hair and like gelled back with like a single like strand coming out of like one of them. And it's just like, come on, dude. And there's something really funny about how
Also,
Robotnik is like, this is a different version of cartoony. And so it's a different cartoonish proportions applied to humans instead of applied to animals. It's very like East meets West, sort of like cartoony vibes.
yeah. Also, Bark and Bean are in the fight,
Yeah. Uh,
which is weird.
I think Bean is like in the comic like 30, and like Bark is like 42, which is like
Yeah.
very funny to think about, like logistically with their ages.
There's also Grouter in the background on the front lines. You can barely see him.
Yeah. So it then cuts over to SWAT bots basically talking about how Robotnik is having some sort of good dream. As they wake him up, as he walks over to the prisoner they had just captured, which was a overlander warrior who is surprised that Julian is alive, and Robotnik repays him by basically experimenting a laser to figure out like at what point like the person like I don't know dies. Like there's something like really weird about like what he's doing with the experiment for him to say Eureka, I've done it again. It's very nebulous.
Yeah, I think he just wanted to kill someone in like a new and interesting way. I didn't think I don't think he had a reason for the test. I think he just wanted to shoot someone with a laser because he'd been getting too many losses.
So I originally assumed that this whole backstory part was exclusive to the Supersonic special. The Supersonic Special 6 version of the issue. No, that's just in the normal one too. It's just that they touched up the art a little bit so it doesn't look as flat. And I'm like, okay. It's just kind of awkward to be like, oh yeah, that's from the original issue. I'm like, oh, fascinating. So we cut back to Joffrey, Sonic, and Knuckles all fighting each other. As Joffrey calls in for backup, Sonic avoids Knuckles, and then gets immediately detained by Espio, who has been sitting
Yeah,
who of course he was going to like sneak around to like follow Knuckles wherever he goes. And just as
yeah.
like everything is coming to a head, Dulcie lands on top of everyone and then says the immortal line that has forever stuck with me since reading this comic for the first time. As you know, dragons cannot tell lies. That is why I could sense the purity
As
and
you
truth, and
know,
I know Sonic is not lying about being framed. Joffrey goes, well,
as you well know,
Knuckles goes, well, I believe her. And Joffrey goes, ah, I've been defeated. I'm like, what? What do you, what do you mean by this? And just the fighting's over. It's like what? It's like why? Why is this? It's so bad.
uh,
Hmm?
I think Ken Penders wrote himself into a corner and he needed to pull new forms of bullshit out to
Yeah,
get Sonic on top, but not deface Joffrey. As heaven forbid, Joffrey look bad in a Ken Penders comic.
yeah.
It's a lie. Joffrey always looks bad.
So we then cut over to uh Tails and Rotor just trying to sneak through the sewers. But of course, like the second they get down to like the waterway, uh Drago is there going, hey guys, we knew you were to come down here. That was a very stupid move. And they're like, oh, yeah, I guess so. Immediately cuts back over to it cuts back over to what Antoine and Bunny are doing. And they use the explosive collars that were stuck onto Bunny to blow open the door to get out of there. And immediately they've got like the whole like Down Under crew back to like fight against them. Uh Robotnik is clearly not happy with this, and because of that tries to like step up the robotization of Knothole, because clearly things are going wrong. When Knuckles, Sonic, and Joffrey all uh dive bomb the SWAT bots to get them off of people. And there's this moment where like as everything is going on with like a 2-page spread of just like everyone just fighting, there's a great there's a great little moment where Knuckles just like punches a perfectly circular hole through a SWAT bot in that image. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Sonic then goes, "Where's that wolf?" And there's this little comedic panel of Drago going, "Me?" And it's like, "Yeah, you." As he just
Get
like
back
shoots
over here.
daggers at him, just like running after him because it was like, oh, he got like the lowdown on everything that had been going on. So yeah, now he's after Drago because you know her Hershey might have been the one to pull the trigger, but Drago was the one that owned the gun. So so he is responsible
Owned,
in this one.
loaded, and then put it into her hand and pointed a second gun at her.
Yeah. Drago is like running away from everything, and he's like, "Oh, I must have, huh, must have avoided Sonic. I wonder why." And Hershey comes out from behind a tree, going, "Drago, you can trust me." And he's like, "Can I?" And he goes, "I am literally the one person you're supposed to be trusting in this. Okay?" And he goes, "Okay." She then starts mercilessly beating him up and then tries to crush his head in with a rock. Which I'm just
You
like,
know what? Justified.
this is totally
I
justified.
think everyone should just stand by and allow it to happen.
And then Sonic goes, "Oh wow, that took me so long to get here." It was like it was like,
And
yes,
you can
Sonic.
see him watching this go down in the background.
And then Hershey basically lets him know that she was the one responsible. She just like breaks down crying. And Sonic just angrily walks up going, "Nah, this wasn't your fault. Don't worry about it." And honestly, I think like that little like mini arc of Hershey is so heartbreaking. Like
It is.
especially when you know where she goes later after this. I'm just like, man, Hershey, you really can't catch a break, can you?
No, it's just they never let her be with someone who treats her well.
The way her story ends, like now that I actually like know what happens to her, because I got kind of got caught up on some of the lore that I missed from the like the end of the Archie series. She did not deserve to like go off screen. You know, it's like
No,
that's kind of
absolutely
insulting
not.
to both of the characters involved.
Yeah.
And so Sonic immediately like bursts down like Robotnik's door, trying to get at him. He then gets like bolased by um by two arms that just like crush him together. And it's revealed that Snively is in like this like exosuit type thing where he's controlling these like magnetic arms using the using some like tech and like the canisters on his back. And I'm like, that's kind of neat to actually see him like get out into the field to like fight against Sonic, even for like the small amount that it happens.
Yeah.
And after Sonic just slams right into a wall, he looks up and goes, "Oh wait, no, that was Bunny. What are you guys doing here?" As they're like,
Rude.
I was like, we're about to blow this place sky high." As Antoine pulls out a very adorable, like tiny canister with a radiation logo onto it, and he goes, "When we plant the bomb, is like it will do the most damage possible with a 10-minute detonation timer." I'm just like, Antoine, are you okay?
He should be wearing gloves and a full hazmat suit for that. But you know what? I appreciate the hustle.
And Sonic runs off going, just make sure that doohickey of yours actually works.
Yeah, he's like, you know what? You said you brought a bomb. I believe you. My place in this team is not to question science. And then he runs off.
So, uh, Robotnik then activates the the ultimate annihilator, which is the weapon that he's basically been teasing this whole time that I've been basically glossing over because at the end of the day it doesn't even really matter.
Yeah.
Uh
I mean, it looks cool, but
uh
if
in
it
which
works is a separate question.
it is a big electrostatic cannon that he shoots up to a satellite that he's been preparing to like send information and also like power it. And as Sonic is like trying to get to Robotnik in time, Robotnik hits a button and the satellite from orbit nukes Knothole to the point where it's just a crater. As Sonic just looks up at the screen that is depicting it as Robotnik is like, I've won. Isn't that cool? Uh and then
Everyone's dead except for you.
uh Sonic is then sitting there as like all of the like computer systems are like yelling that things are malfunctioning as all the robots basically like depart away from them as Sonic and Robotnik are about to have like a fist to fist showdown with each other as Spaziante's art just like starts smearing all over the place with like action lines as like blows start happening. A lot of like coloring detail just drains from the page as like Sonic's movement becomes so chaotic that like you can tell that they didn't have time to really like give like even more detail to the background or else it will be way too confusing. As like
No, this is like the coolest thing ever. I love these shots where it goes from the fight to like it grains out into white and then the color pops back in with Sonic. It's so good.
yeah, it's like
It's I'm able to follow Spaziante's art. Maybe that's what my problem is, why I like this so much. It's like, oh, yeah, I can follow Spaz's line work. I've been following it for years. I know exactly what he's doing.
yeah, it's he is probably one of the best when it comes to like showing movement in a comic. Like just the page of
He's
him
good at
of
drawing
Sonic
chaos
bouncing from
is
like
what he's
ceiling
good
to
at.
floor to ceiling to floor and then smacking Robotnik's arm to pieces like in a single like panel is so good.
Yeah.
And then there's just like an explosion of pink just eliminating all the color from the page as you just see a sketch line image of Robotropolis exploding with just like
Oh, it's so good.
and then one page of white and then
Cinema.
just Sonic's hand ripping through the page as he warp rings back out of the um back into existence. It was like, "Oh, well, I guess I'm still here. That's interesting." As he just
Like
collapses on the
he
floor of
fully he fully expected to die in that fight.
yeah. Sonic then wakes up a few
But
hours
Chaos said no.
yeah. Sonic wakes up several hours later in a bed as Dr. Quack is just like I was like, "So how are you feeling?" As Sonic is like, "What? Naho got destroyed." And he goes, "Okay, so here, let me explain something." As Rotor goes, "So Knothole now exists in a temporary rift 3 hours into the future. It's like it's its own special zone, uh, um, outside of Mobius proper. So effectively, it is in a pocket dimension in the crater of where it used to be." And I was like, huh. And Dr. Quack then explains what happens. So one of the important components to the Dream Watcher from several issues ago involved a chip that was not vetted properly. And so when Robotnik found it by just tuning into its signal and basically figured out where the Knothole medical facility was. And so upon reaching it, kidnapped Quack and his family and basically started implementing everything that we saw. So basically Robotnik has been in Knothole since issue 43. And I think that that's kind of neat. Um, to basically been like, oh, Robotnik is known for a little bit of time, like what's been going on, and Quack has basically just been like an unwilling like trader for them. And Quack then basically goes, I had to put a lot of work into making sure that like things went over smoothly.
No one died. Yeah,
Yeah, and
that
it's like
like no one actually died. My goodness.
so it's revealed that
That's
Snively
a team player.
yeah, turns out that Snively altered the device that the only organic matter that would be destroyed by the Annihilator is Robotnik. So Robotnik is the only character to have died in this entire battle.
Put a pin in that.
Uh, and so Sonic is like, wait, so like what happened to Sally? It goes, oh yeah, Sally's alive. She's just in a coma. And Sonic immediately gets up out of bed, past people in the hallway that are like still like worried to see if like Sonic is like gonna be okay.
Gonna be
And
a lot. Yeah.
before they could stop
He's
him,
hooked up to IVs and everything too. Like
yeah,
he's like still on bed rest.
yeah, and before they could do anything, Sonic has basically run out to a spot behind the facility where Sally is in a Snow White-esque glass coffin just outside as he opens it up like true love's first kiss
Yeah, because
style.
this
Just
is what you do for coma patients. You put them out in the woods with no medical care around them.
yeah, and then it's like
Unless that casket is the care, in which case, why wasn't King Acorn in one of those several panels ago?
so full page of Sonic and Sally finally doing a full kiss, and that ends the comic.
He gives her a kiss on the cheek while he thinks she's asleep, which is better than him trying to French her when he thinks she's dead.
Yeah.
So, the point.
So there's then a final wrap up page of like saying where everyone is right now, which definitely feels like end of the series type of thing, where it's like, okay, um, everyone that was accused of being a trainer was exonerated. King Acorn has gained a little bit of consciousness. Hershey was forgiven and is, quote, a model citizen. The freedom fighters are welcomed back. Joffrey was reinstated as commander, but still feeling a little bit bad by everything that happened. Drago has been sentenced to the
Good, you should
gulag.
continue to feel bad.
I love how they just say, Drago has been sentenced to the gulag. And then it's like, and Snively still exists. That'll be for another day, though. And if the series had kind of ended there, I could totally see people being okay with this. Like it
Oh,
would not
yeah.
have been the high point of the series, but this final issue is a gold. You know, like they at least make up
You know
for
what?
like all of the like rough parts of the previous parts of the series, and they kind of make up for it.
Yeah. You know what? I agree. It's definitely on the line between silver and gold, but you know what? Those three pages where it goes from like explosion to like grayed out to like white and then Sonic's hand stuck through. It's like, yes, this is art.
Yeah, those pages of Sonic,
That for
huh?
uh, those pages formed a core memory of storytelling in my head when I was a kid.
Yeah, there's a reason why people remember Spaz's art, and it's because of stuff like this, where it's like it's so ingrained into the way that Sonic feels as a character, and it's just like the one time like the times that Robotnik gets any hits in, it feels like he just smashed Sonic into the ground and just cracks it. Where it's like, oh yeah, I forgot he's like super strong because of like all the enhancements. And so it's like the only way to beat super strength is to never get hit by him. And there's there's something that I kind of want to bring up, and that is why exactly um there was even a need to re-release this as Supersonic Special 6. And that is because of a single typo. Believe it or not, this the impetus for the entirety of issue 50 being re-released is for basically uh one typo, which doesn't really change much, and you can kind of like gloss over if you didn't realize it. Uh, there is a typo from the very beginning of this issue where they referred to Julian as son of Ivo, when
Oh,
in reality it's supposed to say Julian of the House of Ivo. It's like no, his name is not Julian. His name is not uh Julian Ivo the second. He is just from the House of Ivo.
yeah.
So that's really the only reason why they did it, and they also did it to change around to like better like some of the like line art work because apparently like issue 50 kind of got rushed out at the last second, and a lot of what they changed was to fix some of the art of it, which is fair. And I don't like the way that Robotnik looks on the cover of Sonic Super Special 50. It's why I've been using the normal issue 50 cover this whole time. I just do not like his lips. They look really strange.
Yeah.
So that's about it. Um, so where did we actually say we both assigned Mecha Manus to be the platinum for like this set of issues?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. If
Uh,
you want a high point,
yeah. Let me just like quickly put that down. What did we assign the stone? I think we assigned issue
it
44.
was some Joffrey comic. I know that much.
No, it was the one where it's the evil Sonic comic where they go to like evil Knuckles' sunken island.
Oh yeah, that'll show you how how much impact that comic left on me as a person.
Well, either way, I I don't really have much to say. I've basically been like reiterating the comic like word for word so far. So
Yeah.
I don't really have anything else to put. Did you have like any like final thought?
I think we would have more to say if this was actually the end of the Archie run of comics, and we will have a lot to say when that day comes. But I definitely think 50 was a great lead up. I like that they re-released the director's cut with updated art. That was good. Gave the art more time to be fleshed out.
Again, I originally
But
thought that the entire like backstory with the Overlanders was the thing that was added into the director's cut. I didn't actually think that it was just the touch up art for I think it was specifically the scene uh where Antoine and Bunny are escaping the prison. Like apparently that was
Yeah,
like
that
the roughest
that
piece of art.
entire sequence. Yeah, that entire sequence needed a buffer out. But
So
I always like seeing Jules.
yeah,
I really, especially when he's like completely hale and healthy, and not like a physical but not a mental shell of his former self.
yeah. So is that everything then? I don't think I have any more
I
thoughts.
think so.
Yeah.
I
So
think I've pretty much said what I wanted to say.
yeah, I guess that's it.
Yeah,
Um, see you later, everybody. Next time we start getting
yeah.
into post classic Sonic stuff. Uh, this is where the story starts getting a bit more shallow. I think up
Well,
until
they have
like
to refine themselves
yeah,
again
I think
after they just ended the comic. They have to restart the comic,
I think this
and with
next
no Ivo at the beginning.
yeah, I think this next stretch of like 25 issues are like some of the weakest that Sonic gets, and it's
Disagree,
it's mostly
but you know
because
they definitely have their weak points.
they have to divert like a lot of the team to working on the Knuckles series at the same time.
Oh yeah.
But so you have a lot less Ken in the main comic, but you have a lot of Ken in the Knuckles series. So if you're following all the comics released at once, you basically get a massive spurt of um Sonic and Tails flying in a plane for like 3 issues. Sonic's
Yeah.
looking out the window of the boat like he's Guts and Berserk like it on hold for 3 years. And then we cut over to Knuckles and he's just yelling about how he doesn't like the how he doesn't like the taxi service. Um, we will
Oh,
get into the
I'm
Knuckles
gonna
series.
love that issue.
We will get into the
I'm
awkward
gonna
political
love the
dialogue
soap opera
in the Knuckles series, but
because
man,
the Knuckles series tricks you into thinking it will be a bombastic fight splash, and then it pulls the rug out and just becomes a soap opera. And I am here for the soap opera.
I don't know. I
I
think
didn't need to watch soaps as a kid because I had these comics growing up, and
I
that
don't know.
completely
I, I
was my
think
fix.
I think uh, uh constantly hearing Chilean soap operas in our house like kind of geared us for this type of thing like all through our childhood.
Oh, oh yeah, and so we can't go to like um North American like soaps because yeah, cause like one, everyone is speaking English.
Yeah, it just feels weird.
Two, everyone, no one's having any fun in these soap operas. It's just all rampant misogyny. No one's killing people. Where's
Yeah,
the fun?
yeah. There's something really fun about watching a Chilean soap opera where it cuts back to the girl and she just looks like she's trying to figure out where every knife is in her house. Well,
Uh,
anyway,
good times, good times.
I think we're done.
You know what? Good for them. Good for them. Good for those girls.
I
And
think you
Joffrey,
yeah.
Hershey should have hit hit Dra hit Draco with that rock. It would have been an improvement over Draco's character.
You know
I
what?
don't want him dead. I just want him to cease breathing.
I'm gonna just headcanon it now that Hershey was yelling in Spanish as she was like trying to like crush his head. I'm gonna just
You know
headcanon that.
what? We should, yes. We absolutely should.
Anyway, I think we might go on a bit of a hiatus, like for a bit because like you're gonna be like indisposed for a while.
Oh yeah. Sometime in September to October will be the start of like I don't know when I'll be around to record, but I do want to record more. It's
Yeah,
just I don't know when I'll be able to.
I basically have 2 days to
But I'll
record in a
have more
week, and
free
if we miss
days.
both, we just miss a week.
Yeah. It's hey, but my I won't be at work so often. So there's that.
Yeah. So anyway,
Unfortunately, I will get no sleep.
yeah, we'll see all y'all later. Goodbye, everybody.
Goodbye.